This conference will now be recorded.
Hi all, welcome to the session. Hope you all can hear me.
Yes, from my end.
Okay. So I think you can see my screen as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So yesterday we have seen what are the phases involved and how to start with the development. Okay. So today we will take a example. Okay. I will create a new page here and I will call this as project example. Okay. Now I want to start with a bank management system. Okay. And I think we were discussing about ICICI. Okay. And we want to start with this bank. Now, first question from mine. The first step would be diagnosis. Now, you have a ICICI client and he came to you and he asked you for the implementation of the bank management system. What will you do? What will you do here? Will you implement or not?
Yes.
Oh, well, then what are you going to do in the diagnosis phase?
I'll just ask for the source system from where is he getting the data, and I'll check the data and I'll just run the execution plans on those things, and I'll just check if there is any redundant data or something like that. Process the cleanup. Then I'll see which one is taking more time to process and everything, and I'll just see the data sets which
Hey,
he
one
wants.
second. Actually, he don't have anything. He want to implement a brand new bank management system. Okay, it's a new bank. It's not the old one. From where you will get the data here? He wants to set up a new bank and he wants to implement Dynamics AX for that. He don't have anything. There is no data set here. So where will you start?
I'll just ask what kind of data he wants to see. I'll just ask for the prototypes.
Okay, good. So see here. Whenever I say the diagnosis, if I am in your place, okay, I will not think about the data at the initial state. Okay, I will not think about the data at the initial state because data all together is a different thing. Okay, we will get the data later on. At the initial step, I will start understanding the business process. Okay, because what are the business processes that are being operated specific to that bank? Okay, so here, once you discuss about the business processes, what you will understand here? You will get the information about the bank, what exactly they are working on, what they are operating on, what is their process, and you are going to get all those information. And he will let us know. Okay, accounting management system. Okay, but accounting management system, it differs a lot between whatever is in AX and whatever the bank is going to operate. Okay, so in this accounting management system, he will say we have different types of accounts. Savings account. For this, you will have one business process or the different set of business rules, and this will be your one of the scenario. And then you will have, what is the next one? The fixed account. And then you have the current account. So like this, you have three things here. Good. Okay. Now the next step. We are done with the three scenarios. After saying about the three scenarios, next we'll go into the internals. Okay. We will not go into the internals of everything. We will go into the internals of one of them so that we will understand the diagnosis phase whether we can do that or not. Okay. Based on that, the details will move on. In the savings account, he said account creation, account updation, interest calculation, and what else do you have? interest calculation, and what else? What else? What else? What else? Come on. What else? Yeah, nominee. Okay, nominee. What else? Like this, he will let you know there are multiple things in the savings account. So once you get this information, the next step that you will do is you will come here and then you need to check the data information. Okay, you need to know about the data. So what all things you need to know about the data? First thing, you need to know about frequency of data, average transactions per hour. This is very, very important because based on these two, you will decide how many machines you need. Okay, based on this, you are going to decide how many machines you need and what is the average transactions per hour. And then you will also look into peak transactions per hour. This is what you need to check. First of all, you need to understand the business process, and the second thing, you need to understand the data. Okay, so this is what we will do generally because we need to know both of them. Based on that, we will decide whether Microsoft Dynamics 6 and how it is going to operate and how fast it can be, how many machines we need to deploy, what should be the RAM of the machine, what is the CPU that we need to use. Okay, all these things will be decided based on processes involved and the data involved in it. So these are the two things that we will check in during the diagnosis phase. Okay, and once this is done, we will come back to the analysis. Okay, in this analysis phase, we will go in depth of the requirements. Okay, again, we will be sitting with the business analyst and then we will go with the in-depth analysis of the requirement. So what is this in-depth analysis? In this in-depth analysis, again, there will be two stages. The first stage, you will have the fresh, okay, or fresh implementation. You will have the customizations. These are the two things that we need to consider. One is the fresh implementation and the second one is the customizations. So during this phase, we are going to do something called fit gap analysis. What we'll do? Fit gap analysis. So what is there in Dynamics 365? Let's say we have a accounts receivable module. Now I will be able to create the sales orders. But for the bank, sales orders are necessary? No, they are not necessary. But for the bank, ledger transactions are necessary. So what we will do? We will use the ledger module, and then for the ledger again, the financial transactions, they will let us know, okay, in the financial transactions, I want to have these many dimensions. Okay, there are some 32 or something dimensions which will be supported in AX 2012. Now I think it's 255 or something. I don't remember exactly. You can check that on MSDN. So what we will do is we will check those details. We will set it up. Okay, in the fit gap analysis, we are going to check whether the existing general ledger framework will meet the requirements of the bank management system or not. If it does not meet, what should be customized? All those will be documented in your document, and we call it as a document called business requirement document. What we call it? We will call it as a business requirement document. And in this business requirement document, we are going to get all the details, whatever the details that are needed. Okay, what are the details that are needed? We are going to get that here. We are going to get that. So now once you have the information of the business requirements and the fit gap analysis is done, here you will plan for the fresh implementation. Here we will plan for the fresh implementation. We will decide, okay, how we are going to decide. Okay, now let me come back, because for this fresh implementation as well, we need the BRD. Okay, here how it will be documented is, as I told you, you will have, it will start with the, I'm starting with the use case, or let me take the scenario. The first point will be the scenario in the business requirement document. Don't worry, you are not going to create this business requirement document. You'll get it from the client itself. Okay. Or if they are not able to do that, they will pick few people from us who will be the business analyst. Okay. And then they will write this scenario, account creation. Okay. In this account creation scenario, or you can call it as accounts instead of calling it as a account creation, you can say scenario account management or something like that. Okay. Use case 1. In this you will discuss on savings accounts, and in this you will have the business rule, and in this business rules we will have, let's say, business rule 1. In this business rule 1 we are going to discuss about account creation. In this account creation, now they will say, okay, to create the account, following entries are needed. Okay, and in this they will say, first one, we need name of the customer, and then date of birth, and then for the name. Remember, these details will be in the form of a business form. Okay, I might be one or way writing them in the more generic way so that you would be able to understand that, but they will be in the business form. Similarly, they will be in the business form. Okay, there will be a few minor changes, I can say. Okay, and then they will give us date of account creation, and then they will say these are the customer details. So here these are the customer details. So they will say PAN card or whatever it can be, the address proof, and then what else do you need to create an account? Name, date of birth, for the name, date of account creation, PAN card, and what else is needed here to create a savings account? Nominee. Anyways, we are going to add the name, so I will keep it as nominee, and then like this. Okay, because we might get few more details, but let's consider up to here. So like this, what they will do is they will give the details, and in these details they will also mention if it is name of the customer, it is mandatory, and date of birth they will say it is mandatory, and for the name it is mandatory. Date of account creation, this is also mandatory because on base of this only they need to calculate the interest. Like this, they will let us know what are the mandatory fields and what are the optional fields. Okay, they will give all those details in the form of a business rule. Okay, now this first business rule is finished by this. Okay, and now second business rule. Here in the second business rule, they will also give us some conditions. Okay, conditional account creation. So what does it say? Because nowadays we are getting a lot of things. Okay, for example, sorry, for example, we have something called Pradhana Mantri. Some I don't remember that here. What is that? They we will be opening the zero balance accounts now. Okay, or Jan Dhan Yojana. Yes. Okay, we have Pradhana Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, and here what they will do is they will mention accounts should be allowed to be created with zero balance. Got it? Accounts should be allowed to be created with zero balance. Got it? This is how they will say. And similarly, the second one would be simple savings account. Okay, because this will be also a different business rule again. They will add one more business rule called BR3, and then they will call it as what I told you, simple savings account. Okay, and then they will mention it should have minimum balance of 500 likeness. So this is how we will get a business requirement document in the analysis phase. Okay, and then you will have a flow diagram. Okay, they will also, because not all the people, few of the people will also give you a flow diagram. They will mention, okay, start, and then account details are entered, account should be created. It depends on, again, the business analyst. Please remember, because you will see these documents rarely. Okay, you will see these documents rarely when you are working with some big projects. For all the small projects, you will not find this kind of documents. Okay, I want you to explain so that you will understand how that will look like. Okay, when you are working with some big projects, then only you will find this kind of documents. For all the small projects, you will only see the functional design. Okay, you will only see the functional design, nothing other than that. Okay, please remember. Now, this is how it is organized. Now, coming back to the next phase, the design, what will happen? Okay, you will have a design called functional design. We will have a design called functional design, and in this functional design, now they will come up with the entities in the two forms. First one is new entries, second one is AX entries. Okay, first one is new entries and the second one is AX entries. So now what is new entries and what is AX entries? New entries means whatever the new creation that you are doing. Okay, new creation in the sense this is a fresh implementation, you got these details, this is a new one. AX entries means I mean to say customizations. Okay, for the specific requirement of account management, what are the customizations that should be done? What are the customizations that should be done? What are the new implementation that should be done? What is the new implementation that should be done? Both should be defined, and both will be defined in the functional design. Okay, in the functional design. Now they will let you know what should be customized. If there is any customization, they will add the screenshots. And then they will say where exactly and what should be added or updated. Okay, what should be added or updated. Okay, and similarly, what they will do here, what they will do, they will come up with a technical design. For example, I will tell you what happens in case of functional design in this specific case. Okay, now what we will do, we will start adding the entries. So for this bank management system, let's take an example. What is the example? Account creation. Okay, account creation. And in this account creation, what we need to do? We need to add the information. What all details are needed for the account? So actually in the functional design, they will give us the name of the table and name of the field. Later on, we will decide whether that should be used directly or not. Okay. For example, they will say account creation. Okay. They will say account creation is the name of the table, but that is not meaningful and that should not be used. Okay. So what we will do? We will update it. When we are working with the technical design, we are going to update that names. Okay. And here they will say name of the customer, and then these details. Frankly speaking, whatever the functional design that you will see, it will be similar to that of a business requirement document with few changes, with very few changes. So what are those few changes? Here it will be more meaningful to the technical person. Business requirement document will be more meaningful to the functional person. That is the difference. Okay, because when the technical guy will see this, unless and until he is a techno functional, okay, unless and until he is a techno functional, he would not be able to understand that business requirement document easily. Whereas if you are a techno functional, you would be able to understand that. Okay, so how to become a techno functional? So once you start working on the Dynamics 365 and if you have 5 or 6 years of experience, you will become techno functional automatically. Okay, you will become techno functional automatically. Now this is how it goes. Okay, and then we are going to decide now. Okay, the next step is a technical design, because functional guy knows the front end, yeah, he does not know the back end. Okay, next we will come to the technical design. So what we will have in this technical design? This technical design will be very clear. Okay, it will have each and everything that we are working on. Okay, today we are going to start with the development now. The technical design is going to have each and everything that we will work on. And as I told you, they are of two levels. One is at the high level, second one is the low level. High level technical design will contain the information about high level technical design contain the information about the algorithms, how to achieve to the solution. Okay, the low level technical design will contain the information about how we have achieved to the solution. Okay, how we have achieved the solution will be there in low level technical design, and how to achieve that solution will be there in high level technical design. Okay, so this is how the technical designs are organized. This is how the technical designs are organized. And when we come to the technical design, frankly speaking, we will be having 80% of the things in the technical design if it is developed. Okay, because nowadays people are not developing technical designs, functional designs. They are directly taking the requirements and they are starting the development. That is not a best practice. Not nowadays. I can say from the past, when I have started working there, then as well, because it depends on client to client. Okay, you might ask me what is the reason for that. There is one good reason. Okay, now let's say I need to start with the diagnosis phase, and then I need to do the analysis, and then I need to work on the design, and then I need to work on the technical design, and then I need to work on the development. Now if I need to come to the development, even for a small change request, it will take nearly 15 days. 15 days, and 2 or 3 people need to sit together and they need to define all these things. That's the minimum thing. Okay, so if that should be done, what is the cost involved in it? Let's say if we consider 3 people and 15 days, and 15 into 3, 45. Okay, however, let's say they are charging $20 for each person. If it is $20 now, oh, let's take $10. Why 20? Let's take $10 for each person. If it is $10 for 3 persons, daily 8 hours, 10 into 8, 80, 8 into 3, 24, $240 a day. And I told you 15 days, 15 into 240. How much here? It will be 15 into 240. It will be $3,600 into 2,52,000 should be spent. That's the minimum amount. Okay, companies are not going to give this. It will be far higher than this, but that's the minimum amount. The customer should spend to get the design ready. Okay, so what they have planned is they bought a new approach. Okay, they call it as a fast agile or new IT or something like that. And what they will do is all the requirements will be added to the one IT. Okay, that means the version control system. Okay, all the requirements will be added to the version control system, and then we need to develop that. This is how it goes. Okay, so please remember, it's not guaranteed that you are going to work on all these designs unless and until you work on some big implementation projects. Okay, now let's come back. Technical design. we are going to document whatever the details that are needed, and then we will come to the development phase. Okay, and frankly speaking, this is the phase where we will work all the time. Okay, we will work all the time only on the development phase. Remaining designs, if you are lucky and you will work on some great big implementation project, then you will be able to work on it. Otherwise, you will be work directly on the development phase. Got it? You will work directly on the development phase. Okay, now see here, in this development phase, what we will be doing? We need to start with the development. To start with the development, most of the times people used to say, hey, how to develop? Yeah, there is no design at all. This is what is the thing that we used to get all the time. Okay, but frankly, you should be able to do that. Okay, because nowadays the expectation is for a DevOps engineer. DevOps in the sense they have a program. Okay, we will call the people as universal engineers. Okay, we will call the people as universal engineers. What are these What is this universal engineers here? Who are these universal engineers? Universal engineers means they are functional, they are technical, they can work across the platform. Okay, if you have the engineers who can work like this, you will call them as a DevOps engineers or the universal engineers. Okay, both are same. Okay, they will do each and everything. They will do each and everything. You might have, there will be very few people who will be working like that, but nowadays each and every company needs the universal engineer. Okay, they are in requirement of universal engineers. Okay, they are not in the requirement of the specific domain or domain specific candidates. Okay, they want, if you say AX, they are looking into the candidates who know technical and who know functional. And again, you might say, if you say functional, but do we need to learn the functional? Not needed. Learning functional is not needed. If you are the technical, automatically when you start working into it, you will learn the functional automatically. Okay, because during the interviews as well, they will not ask you the functional questions a lot. There will be very few questions on accounts receivable and accounts payable, which I'll give. I will send it to you, the interview questions list. Okay, they are going to use only them. Okay, and you can also collect from the front office because already I have shared with them. You can collect from them. Okay, now how to start with the development? You will have the business requirements. Okay, you need to again take all these business requirements and then you need to start with the development. Okay, for example, if I take the bank management system, if I take the example of a bank management system, first of all, we need to identify what are the requirements and we need to make a note of them technically. Okay, for example, let's take, if I say bank, the bank needs customers. So first thing that we need is customer details. Okay, and here we are not going to call it as a customer details. Instead of that, you can call it as a customer. Okay, or you can call it as a customer table. Okay, and while doing the development, the best practices will come into picture. In the technical design as well, even if you mention or not, no one is going to consider. But while doing the development, the best practices come into picture. The first best practice that we need to follow when we are starting the fresh implementation is the prefix. Whenever you are creating an object, okay, whenever we are creating, let me write it down here, whenever we are creating a new object in AX, the first thing you need to remember is the object should contain the prefix plus meaningful object name. These are the two minimum things that you need to do. Okay, you need to use prefix and then you need to use the meaningful object name. And coming to this prefix, let's say for example, I'm working with the ICICI Bank, so you can take ICI, and here I want to work with the customer table, so I can take ICI customer table. And sometimes you might find that the size will be increasing like anything. So what you can do is you can minimize the size. So what you can do is you can use only first 4 characters or something like that. You can call it as ICI cast table. Okay, or you can also call it as ICI cast details. So like this, whatever the name that you want to give, it's okay, yeah. No one is going to ask you why you have given this name. Okay, if you follow the best practices and it is meaningful, no one will ask you. If you are not following the best practice, instead of calling this, let's say I can also give ICI C details. What is the C details? What is the C details? So whenever you are giving the names should be meaningful and it should have the prefix. It is mandatory for each and every object, because by seeing the name of the object, the developer should be able to identify what it does. Okay, by seeing the name of the object, the developer should be able to identify what it does. Because today you will work on this implementation project, tomorrow morning you will go away, huh? Because many a times we will get more money if we shift the companies. Okay, so what people will do, here, they will shift the companies like anything. Is that right? They will shift the companies like anything.
Yeah.
So that would be a problem. Tomorrow morning one more developer will be there, and once he sees that, what he will say? He will simply say, what the hell is going on? What did he write? Which developer wrote this? Okay, like this, there will be a lot of, I think they will score like anything sometimes. Okay, because depending upon who developed it and how it has developed. So if you don't want to get into that, what you need to do? You need to simply give the names which are more meaningful. Okay, now let's come back. I'm here, customer details. So I will call it as now ICI customer details. Okay, this is a big name. If you think so, you can make it ICI customer details. And the next step would be, there will be minimum few properties of the table which we need to work on. I will tell you when we go there. Okay, and then ICI customer details. And what are the fields needed for a customer? We need name of the customer. Okay, here that's up to you again, because sometimes people will say only name, sometimes people use only camel casing, sometimes they will make, it's all again depend. Okay, sometimes people will use only name. That's all up to you. Okay, what you want to use, that will be dependent on the design and the requirement. That's all up to you. Okay, for example, if it is a name, I'm going to use it as a name, and then father name, and then date of birth, and then what else? Name, father name, date of birth. What else is needed here?
Account type.
Mobile number. Oh, account type. Account type shall I add in the customer details? Okay, let's think about it later. I don't want to go with the account type now. Name, father name, date of birth, mobile number, address, and then what else can be there?
Email ID.
Good. Email ID. What else? Like this, you can add whatever the fields. You can add a number of fields you want. Okay. And if you want to add the occupation, you can add it. Now, like this, and gender. Like this, you can add whatever the details that you want. Okay. Like this, you can add whatever the details you want. And then if you want to add some address proof, you can add PAN card. Okay. You can add whatever the details you want here. This will be enough for a customer. Okay. Let's say, for example, now after adding all these details, if you simply copy these details, and then if I paste it here in my document, that will become the technical design. It's simple. Once I have done all these details, okay, I told you to development, na? Instead of doing the development, if I draft all these details and if I put it into a document, that will become technical design. Okay, that will become technical design. This is how we work. Okay, now let me start with the development. Okay, now see here. Oh, okay. Let's do one thing. I want to show you each and everything tomorrow because I want to set up the version control and time will not be enough. And for today and tomorrow, I don't want to take more amount of time. So, okay, all right. So if you make a note of all these details and then if you keep it here, that will become our technical design. Okay. Now the next thing is while working on these designs, most of the times what people will do is they will build it as is here. Frankly speaking, they will build it as is. Okay, they are not going to think about whatever the data that we are entering now, and they are going to build it. Okay, so what will happen is there will be no reuse. Okay, if you want to implement with the reuse in Dynamics AX, there are few specific things that we need to use. Okay, so whenever we start the development, okay, I will start with the very basic stuff. The basic stuff is about the data types. So the data types are mainly divided into on perspective of tables two. Okay, I'm saying on perspective of tables they are divided into two. What are those? One is called primitive data types and the second one is called extended data types. Okay, one is called primitive data types and the second one is called extended data types. So what are primitive data types? The most basic data type is the primitive data type. Okay, int, this is integer. Okay, or let me write integer. This is a primitive data type which can store the negative values and then the positive values and then the positive values and then the second one is integer 64. If I say integer, this is a 32-bit. If I say integer 64, this is a 64-bit integer. This is a 64-bit integer. And then the next one is a string. What is a string? An array of characters. Okay, an array of characters. And then we have a type called date to store the date information. And then we have a type called UTC date time. What is it? It is UTC date time. This is used for storing the date time values. And then we also have the base enumerations. And we have time of day as one of the type. Okay, so like this, but this time of day is again in 64, so I don't want to add it. So these are few of the primitive data types. These are few of the primitive data types available in Dynamics 365. So whenever we are creating the tables, we need to concentrate on this because all the time people will try to just right click and create a new field. It's very easy. Creating a field is very easy. So what they will do is they will right click and create a new field. It is going to work here. It will work. Okay, it will work. Whereas using primitive data types directly is a wrong way. Please remember, we need to use only extended data types. So what is an extended data types? The extended data type is the representation of a primitive data type. Okay, so what is this representation? and how we are going to use it. Okay, I will explain you tomorrow because it will take more time and it will take nearly half an hour or 45 minutes for me to explain about this extended data types. Okay, so these extended data types are the representation of a primitive data type. Okay, and I have one question for you. How many of you downloaded the environment? Okay, if you are done, that is good. Yeah, okay. Did you set up or not? Okay, if you have not set up or if you have done, that's not a problem. I will let you know how to do that today. Okay, see here, whenever you want to set up the new VM, okay, the first thing you will do is you will download the files. Hope you all have downloaded them. Okay, and from LCS you might have downloaded some 16 parts. Is that right? I don't remember how many parts are there. I think there will be
Yes.
around 16 parts. Okay, let me show you that. You can see you have 1 to 11. Sorry, 11 here. Part 1 to part 11. Okay, now what you need to do is you have this part 1 now. You need to double click on this part 1, and once you double click on this part 1, it will open a window for you. Click on the accept button, and then it will take you to the next page. Remember, you need to provide your destination folder, and this destination folder should have minimum of 130 GB. How much? Minimum of 130 GB. Okay, and then you need to click on next. It will extract. After extracting the information, you will find only one file, finance and operations 10.0.13. Okay, 10.0.13. You are going to find this file. So now the next step would be based on your configuration. Okay, if you come to my configuration is a high-end configuration. I have you can see here it's octa-core, that means 8 processors. Okay, I have 8 processors and it is a 24 GB RAM. So it depends. If you have 24 GB RAM or 30 GB, then it will be faster, as you can see in my system. And if you have less configuration, there are 2 ways of setting this up. One is using the Hyper-V. How to set up using Hyper-V? Okay, if you click on the start button, you can select Hyper-V Manager, and it will open this window for you, the Hyper-V Manager. And on this, you can see there are already 2 VMs. You need to create a new VM. Right click, click on the new button, and then virtual machine. Here, select the next button. You can give whatever the name you want. Okay, I can say D365 10.0.13. Click on the next button. Click on the next button. Here you can give the startup memory. Give at least 4 GB. Click on the okay, use dynamic memory. Select this, because if you use dynamic memory now, it will be increased to some 16 GB or something like that. Okay, you can set it up how much you want to increase later on. Click on the next button. Here you need to select the networking. You will have the default or whatever the switch you have. You need to select that. Please remember, most of the times people will do mistake here. If you don't select anything, you would not be able to connect to the network on the VM, and you would not be able to work on Dynamics 365. So you need to select the network here, and the next step is virtual hard disk. Here you need to use an existing hard disk, and then click on the browse button. This drive, select this, click on open. Whatever the extracted VHD is there, you need to select that, and then you need to click on open. Then click on the next button. You're done. If you click on finish, it will create a new virtual machine for you. Okay, it will create a new virtual machine for you, and then you need to right click and click on start button. Okay, now actually it is running, so you can't find it. Okay, let me show you. Okay, I am closing this. I am turning this off. By default, your virtual machine will be in this state. So you need to right click and then click on the start button. Okay, the starting is succeeded. Now you need to click on connect. It will connect to your VM. You can see here, it is connecting now. Done. It got connected. And then here it will ask for the password. By default, the password is pass@word1. This is the password. Okay. So you need to give the password. This is the default password. You can change it later on. Okay. Once you are done, this is what you see. And don't worry, these folders are there, but you will not find that folders on your environment. On the desktop, you will see only few tools. One is this one and this one. Admin user provisioning. This is very important tool. You need to right click on this tool for the first time. Click on run as administrator. Yes. And then I told you about the on Microsoft account. You need to give that on Microsoft account here. Please remember. You need to give that on Microsoft account here and then click on the submit. But before submitting, you need to check one more thing. In the services, you need to make sure that the batch management service and the SQL services are up. You can see Microsoft Dynamics AX batch management service. Okay, this is responsible for running the batches. This should be running, and you will have a SQL server. This should be running. If these services are running, then only it will provision your user. Otherwise, it will throw the error. Please remember. Okay, the batch management service and the all SQL server services should be in the running state. Then only it will provision the user. Okay, so this is how we need to. There is no workaround. If you can pay money, then only you can do that, because the development environment will cost. If you take the least, it's somewhere around $3,000 or something like that. Okay, because the machine cost will be $700, but you need to take the LCS subscription. That subscription will cost more. Okay, if you can take the LCS subscription and if you can get the users, then you can link the environment with LCS. Whereas this environment you can't link. Okay, so this is how we are going to provision the user. So once the user provision is done, you need to go to IIS, Internet Information Services, and here you need to check the AOS service. Okay, there will be a website called AOS service. This should be running. Okay, and then you can click on this URL. This will open Dynamics 365, and you need to provide your logon credentials to log on to the environment. Please remember, these are the steps. And let's say, for example, you don't have this one. You don't have the good configuration. You want to boot from the VHD. You can also do that. You can also boot from VHD. For that, you need to use a command called bcd boot. And if anyone wants to boot from the VHD, please ping me on WhatsApp so that I will let you know how to do that. Okay, please remember. And this is how you need to set up the environment for Dynamics 365. Okay, now it's your time. Please let me know if you have any queries. And please set up the environment here. From tomorrow, I am going to start with the development. I will start with the EDTs. Okay, today I am giving you the time so that you can download and set up the environment. Please do that as fast as possible. Any questions? If there are no queries, I will end session for everyone. Thanks all for the session. Let's meet again tomorrow same time. Thank you all. Bye.